Hello, my name is Will. I will be your travel guide on this little glass boat trip. We will visit different times and places to try and trace this wonderful new phenomenon. This new drug that has saved millions and made all our lives much easier. But like all drugs, it can become addictive. So without questioning its benefits, we are going to take a look at some of the unforeseen or ignored side effects. And ask the question, can you have too much of a good thing? And if so, are we entering a possible danger zone?
I feel the need for speed.
Before we ask if we're going to spin out of control on the miracle drug speed, let's travel back in time with our local historian.
When Tom Cruise said I feel the need for speed, he was really talking about a whole society. The 1986 movie Top Gun was about being the best of the best. It tapped into the concept of American exceptionalism, and that speed was not only a good thing, but it was actually addictive. To be Top Gun had to perform going real fast. It's a question of can you handle the speed. The question for people today is, can they handle the speed of change? The speed of our world really begins to change with the idea of division of labor. It was in the late 1700s that the division of labor becomes a major factor in the changing economy. An example is something as simple as a pen. Well, it took one craftsman a day to make one pen. Now 30 people doing one specific task could make thousands. This increase in productivity would result in a dramatic drop in price of pens. And it's this division of labor that Adam Smith sees as the foundation of productivity. Machines would greatly accelerate this process. The race was on to improve productivity. Success would be determined by how many, how fast, with how few people. People would now start buying more goods and making less as a family. The centuries-old patriarchal system was about to change.
Once, long ago, there was a time in what now seems a distant land. Each small boutique was precious and unique, 'cause every little thing was made by hand. Then there came a revolution. The progress of production was attained. Now instead of one, there are many, and each costs just a penny. But every single one looks just the same. Now there's a Starbucks on every bloody corner, McDonald's on everybody's street. There's White Castle, Wendy's, and Walmart, and then it all repeats. If you're the kind that looks down on the masses, even for you there's a fame. Get some new rocks or a pair of docks, butchers like those who wait. And that is how it came to be. After 2 long centuries, that in the name of human greed, the industrial revolution fixed everything for me. And so now it wonders well with the business. They open 2 more and then 3. They buy in bulk in big massive hulks, at which point it's nearly free. As they grow bigger, the prices get lower, until they become a chain. The smaller stores all shutter their doors and buckle beneath the strain. And that is how it came to be. After 2 long centuries, that in the name of human greed, the industrial revolution fixed everything for everyone. It came into our lives and gave us uniformity by taking choice away from you and me. And that is how it came to be. After 2 long centuries, that in the name of human greed, the industrial revolution fixed everything for everyone. from you.
Taking choice away from me.
Taking choice away from you and me. Now the machines are working tirelessly through all night and day, making garbage in our image for a world that's made our way. They won't stop until every inch from Peru to Bombay looks like a mall in the US of A.
Jefferson could never imagine the advances and changes his agrarian society would go through. If the Middle Ages were dominated by religion, the new god was productivity. It would bring undreamed prosperity to many, and the coin of the realm was not people's soul, but speed and efficiency. American capitalism would dominate, and today is the almost unquestioned ruler. It has brought hundreds of millions into the modern world. It changed the speed of the world, and woe to those who cannot or will not keep up. Factories would start to become more important and help give rise to population-centered cities, and there would begin an ever-increasing divide between city life and country life. Echoes of the difference can still be heard in today's songs, such as A Country Boy Can Survive.
Grab your off, we're going backcountry.
The preacher man says it's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she's a gold dry. The interest is up and the stock market's down, and you're only getting mugged if you go downtown. I live back in the woods, you see, a woman and the kids and the dogs and me. I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I can plow a field all day long. I can catch catfish from dusk till dawn. Make our own whiskey and our own smoke too. Ain't too many things these old boys can't do. We grow good old tomatoes and homemade wine, and country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run. Cause when them old boys raised on shotgun, we say grace and we say ma'am. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. We came from the West Virginia coal mines and the Rocky Mountains and the western skies. And we can skin a buck, we can run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. I had a good friend in New York City. He never called me by my name, just Hillbilly. My grandpa taught me how to live off the land, and his taught him to be a businessman. He used to send me pictures of the Broadway nights, and I'd send him some homemade wine. But he was killed by a man with a switchblade knife. For $43, my friend lost his life. I'd love to spit some beach nut in that dude's eyes and shoot him with my old 45, cause a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Cause you can't stop us out and you can't make us run, cause we're them old boys raised on shotgun. We say grace, we say ma'am, if you ain't
California and South Alabama and little towns all around this land. We can skin a buck and run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.
He talks of the difference in the city and country life. The country makes homemade wine for entertainment, while his New York friend goes to watch Broadway plays. Tries to show that a country boy can survive on his own labor while a city boy is dependent on others, even for his life. While the song indicates that in this one instance the country boy survives and the city boy dies, the overall picture presented is the country is a losing struggle. This is shown by the line the preacher man says it's the end of time and the Mississippi River should go run dry. While the song is an obvious plea for the preservation of a slower time, more self-sufficiency, does make one major concession to the speed of modern life. The horse has been replaced by the four-wheel drive. We picked the song Highway to the Danger Zone because of the reference to highway and danger zone. The word highway is linked to speed. It is about getting from point A to point B as fast as you can. Compare that to the footpath, Oregon Trail, scenic route. Now think of the information superhighway. Travel times have really changed. Travel time from Kansas City to Sacramento. Foot, 774 hours 4 minutes. Oregon Trail, about 4 to 6 months. Highway, 24 hours, 26 minutes. Air, about 4 hours. Our idea of speed is not limited to travel times. We want to expand the concept of speed to include all aspects of life.
Look at that. Look, and they're driving right by. They don't even know what they're missing.
Well, it didn't used to be that way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. 40 years ago, that interstate down there didn't exist.
Really?
Yeah. Back then, cars came across the country a whole different way.
How do you mean?
Well, the road didn't cut through the land like that interstate. It moved with the land, you know. It rose, it fell, it curved.
Morning. Nice day, huh?
Cars didn't drive on it to make great time. They drove on it to have a great time.
Long ago, but not so very long ago, the world was different. Oh yes, it was. You settled down and you built a town and made it live, and you watched it grow. It was your town.
What happened?
The town got bypassed just to save 10 minutes of driving.
Time goes by and time brings changes, and you change too. Nothing comes that you can't handle, so on you go. You never see it coming when the world caves in on you, on your town. There's nothing you can do. Main Street isn't Main Street anymore. No one seems to need us like they did before. It's hard to find a reason left to stay, but it's our town. love it anyway. Come what may, it's our town.
How great would it have been to see this place in its heyday?
Oh, can't tell you how many times I've dreamed of that. But one of these days, we'll find a way to get it back on the map.
Yeah. Hey, listen, thanks for the drive. Had a great time. It's kind of nice to slow down every once in a while.
You're welcome.
We want to thank you for taking the time to slow down and joining us on our little journey. So far we talked about cars and planes. And now we want to pay homage to the railroads. The following song pits man against machine.
Men worked in gangs with anywhere from 15 to 25 men. And each gang had a section foreman and a caller. And the caller, he sang a little song with each job they performed, and each rhythmic step was taken in perfect time. With spike hammers, bars, and jacks, each man would tap out the beat with the caller's song, and the entire gang would move as one man.
On the rail! On the head! Center. In the center! Drag on in the nose! Drag on! Oh, drag on iron! Oh, in the bed! Join iron, summer! Can you see now, son of a bitch? Come on, boy.
The men began to develop their own folk heroes, and a legend grew about a great steel-driving man. John Henry's pappy woke him up one morning. He said, before my time has come, I want to tell you. He said, listen, boy. He said, learn to hoist a jack and learn to lay a track. Learn to pick and shovel too, and take my hammer. It'll do anything you tell it to. Well, John Henry hammered in the mountains. He'd give a grunt and he'd give a groan with every swing. The women folks for miles around, they heard him and come down. Said, watch him make that cold steel ring. Lord, what a swing. Yeah, watch him make that cold steel ring. And then the bad boss come up laughing at John Henry. He said, you're full of vinegar now, but you bow through. 'Cause we're gonna get a steam drill to do your share of driving. Then what's all them muscles gonna do? Huh, John Henry? Gonna take a little bit of vinegar out of you. Then John Henry, he said to his captain, he said, a man ain't nothing but a man. But if you bring that steam drill round, I'll beat it fair and honest. I'll die with my hammer in my hand, but I'll be laughing, 'cause you can't replace a steel-driving man. There was a big crowd of people at the mountain. John Henry said to the steam drill, how is you? He said, pardon me, Mr. Steam Drill. I suppose you didn't hear me. I said, how you, huh? Can you hoist a jack? Can you lay a track? Can you pick and shovel too? Huh, listen here. This hammer swinger's talking to you. Captain, tell the people move back further. I'm at the finish line and ain't no drill. It's so far behind, but yet ain't got the brains to quit it. When she blows up, she'll scatter across the hills, Lord, Lord. When she blows up, she'll scatter across the hills. Well, John Henry had a little woman. I believe the lady's name was Polly Ann. Yeah, that was his good woman. Well, John Henry threw his hammer over his shoulder, and he went on home. He laid down to rest his weary back, and that night, John Henry died. Trains go by on the rails John Henry laid. They slow down, they take off the hats, the men do, when they come to the place where John Henry's laying, resting his back. Some of them say, "Morning, steel driver, you sure was a hammer swinger." And then they go on by, picking up a little speed. Clickety-clack, 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 clickety-clack. Yonder lies a steel-driving man, Lord, Lord. Yonder lies a steel-driving man. Yonder lies a steel-driving man, John Henry. Yonder lies a steel-driving man. Yes, I'd say yonder lies a steel-driving, steel-driving, steel-driving.
Our next stop is the cafe on the corner. In our last song, our hero died laughing. In this song, we find out what happens when a suit knocks on your door. Most people live on after their way of life has been taken.
At the cafe down on the corner, with a lost look on his face, there ain't no fields to plow, no reason to now. He's just a little out of place. They say crime don't pay, but neither does farming these days. And the coffee is cold, and he's 50 years old, and he's gotta learn to live some other way. At the cafe down on the corner, with a lost look on his face, there ain't no fields to plow, he's bussing tables now, he's just a little out of place. And the meek shall inherit the earth, and the bank shall repossess it. This job don't pay half what it's worth, but it's a thankful man that gets it. At the cafe down on the corner, with a lost look on his face, ain't no fields to plow, he's wishing for one now, he's just a little out of place. Oh, these soldiers without wars, and hometown boys without a home, farmers without fields, dealers without deals, and they sit there drinking coffee all alone. At the cafe down on the corner, with a lost look on their face, there ain't no fields to plow, they're wishing for one now, when they're just a little out of place.
Small towns are not the only ones to be affected. Large cities like Detroit have been devastated by factories' closings. The song Allentown talks about effects of factories closing on the people.
Well, we're living here in Allentown, and they're closing all the factories down. Out in Bethlehem, they're killing time, filling our forms, standing in line. Well, our fathers fought the Second World War, spent their weekends on the Jersey Shore. Then our mothers in the USO asked them to dance with the slow. And we're living here in Allentown, but the restlessness was handed down, and it's getting very hard to Well, we're waiting here in Allentown for the Pennsylvania we never found, for the promises our teachers gave if we work hard, if we behave. So the graduations hang on the wall, but they never really helped us at all. No, they never told us what was real. Iron, coke, chromium, steel. And we're waiting here in Allentown, but they've taken all the coal from the ground, and the union people crawled away. Every child had a pretty good chance to get at least as far as their home and got. Something happened on the way to that place. They threw an American flag in our face. Well, I'm living here in Allentown, and it's hard to keep a good mind down, but I won't be getting up today.
At the beginning, we said the new paradigm was how fast, how many, with how few. This has worked to the benefit of society in most regards so far. But it is time to ask the question, can it continue forever? Does the math work? The next song is a quantum leap forward in the speed of society. How many will be left behind?
Just a signal sent to profit the machine. Here in this now, we are driven by a power that only feeds upon what we know. The endless stream of information on everything, who we are, what we think, what we like, where we live is on show. Your habits logged and used to sell you now. how you may hide. Stay offline, never try to stand out in the crowd. Whoa. But there are many ways to find you. Think what you like, but the truth will be told when your mind can be so hard. Our new gold is
I feel the need to slow down for a minute. I'm not sure the math works. We might need a new paradigm. We need to ask how a blind belief in speed will affect the masses in the future. If we do not, we might be asking, brother, could you spare a dime?
They used to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed the mob. When there was earth to plow or guns to bear, I was always there, right on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream, with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be standing in line, just waiting for bread? Once I built a railroad, I made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once I built a tower up to the sun, brick and rivet and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, gee, we look swell, full of that Yankee doodly-dum. 500,000 boots went slogging through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. Say, don't you remember, they called me Al. It was Al all the time. Why don't you remember, I'm your pal. Say, buddy, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, ah, gee, we look swell, full of that Yankee Doodle-dum. 500,000 boots went slugging through hell, and I was the kid with a drum. Oh, say, don't you remember? They called me Al. It was Al all the time. Say, don't you remember? I'm your pal. Buddy, can you spare